Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whatever time it is, wherever in this vast world you may or may not happen to be. Welcome once more to another live stream of Alexandra Mayers Live, page by page reading and commentary of the modern English version of the Bible. So today we're going to go back into the first book of Samuel, chapter 11. Saul rescues Jabesh Gilead. Jabesh Gilead. Saul is going to rescue him, I suppose. And we also will begin a section titled Saul Confirmed as King. So in chapter 10, Samuel basically appointed and notified Saul, hey, guess what? You're going to be king. The people of Israel want a king oh so bad, so it's going to be you. Some people don't quite agree with Saul being appointed king. Some people do. But let's see what Saul gets himself into at this stage. I hope all of you are having a great day. As a side note, I definitely am. I definitely utilized Psyche Awakens, someone who many of you who follow me have gone to know. I utilized his live panel yesterday as a bit of a wine bar, but it was fun. It was fun. I don't think I got too out of hand. And truthfully, when it comes to me enjoying adult beverages nowadays, I do find that I'm better off enjoying those adult beverages in the safety of wherever it is that I'm residing, opposed to going out, because I am going through a lot of pretty intense emotions still since the passing of my father and some other things that have happened this year, to where I've just come to realize I'm better off dealing with those emotions if I choose to drink home alone opposed to out in public. So that's what I did a bit of yesterday. And I'll just be working all weekend. But I do appreciate those of you out there who check in on these page by page Bible readings. You know, it's interesting. There's still people that I contend with who I suppose feel like I'm not the kind of person who should be a Christian. That to me is such, it's like, how much lack of insight can a person have? Because if you really look at my particular life, I think, is a very good example as to why someone would adhere to Christianity as I do nowadays. Because I've really seen what solid evil is. I definitely have. Um, and I think that it's those of us who have, taken a few walks on the wild side, and those of us who have encountered solid evil, who often see the truth in Christianity. I don't understand why some people think that in order to be a Christian, you have to live a pretty sheltered life and not have ever experienced anything. That's very interesting to me. But I don't care. I actually am to the point in life to where my spirituality is just a personal thing for me. It's how I feel, what I believe, and I don't really care what other people think about me nowadays, or if they think I'm a good person, a bad person, or any of that mess. Because life is short, and if you spend too much time focused on what other people think of you, you're going to waste a lot of time when it comes to truly enjoying yourself. So anyway, here we go. First book of Samuel, chapter 11. Saul rescues Jabesh Gilead. Then Nahash the Ammonite came up and encamped against Jabesh Gilead. And all the men of Jabesh said to Nahash, make a covenant with us, and we will serve you. Nahash the Ammonite answered them, quote, on this condition will I make a covenant with you. that I may pluck out all your right eyes. So I will inflict it as a reproach upon all Israel. End quote. The elders of Jabesh said to him, give us 7 days, that we may send messengers to all the territory of Israel. And then, if there is no one to rescue us, we will come out to you. So the messengers came to Gibeah of Saul and spoke the words in the ears of the people. And all the people lifted up their voice and wept. Now behold, Saul was coming out of the fields after the cattle. And Saul said, why are the people weeping? And they reported to him the words of the men of Jabesh. The Spirit of God came strongly upon Saul when he heard these words, and he became very angry. He took a yoke of oxen and hewed them in pieces. Hewed. Hewed. I don't think I know what that word means. I don't think I've ever seen that word. Let's look it up real quick to figure out what that means. Hewed. Hewed. Meaning to chop or cut something. Okay, learned a new word today. All right, so he took a yoke of oxen and hewed them in pieces. In other words, he cut them all up. And he sent them throughout all the territory of Israel by the hands of messengers, saying, whoever does not come out after Saul and after Samuel, so will it be done to his oxen. And the fear of the Lord fell on the people, and they came out as one man. When he numbered them in Bezek, the Israelites were 300,000, and the men of Judah 30,000. They said to the messengers that came, thus will you say to the men of Jabesh and Gilead, tomorrow by the time the sun is hot, you will have help. And the messengers came and reported it to the men of Jabesh, and they were glad. Therefore the men of Jabesh said, tomorrow we will come out to you, and you may do to us all that seems good to you. On the next day, Saul put the people in 3 companies, and they came into the midst of the camp in the morning and struck down the Ammonites until the heat of that day. Those surviving were scattered, so that even 2 of them were not left together. So now Saul is going to be confirmed as king. The people said to Samuel, who said, shall Saul reign over us? Bring the men that we may put them to death. Saul said, there will not be a man put to death this day, for the Lord has worked deliverance in in Israel. Then Samuel said to the people, come and let us go to Gilgal and renew the kingdom there. All the people went to Gilgal, and there they made Saul king before the Lord in Gilgal. And there they made sacrifices of peace offerings before the Lord. And there Saul and all Israel's fighting men rejoiced greatly. And that's the end of chapter 11. I guess we can go into chapter 12 today. Why not? Because I wasn't able to do these readings the past couple of days. So let's go ahead and go into chapter 12. Samuel's farewell address. Then Samuel said to all Israel, behold, I have listened to your voice in all that you said to me, and have made a king over you. And now, behold, the king walks before you, but I am old and gray-headed. As for my sons, they are with you, but I have walked before you from my childhood to this day. Oh, we have Scum in here. How are you doing? Let's see what you're talking about. Some men don't want peace. That's why we have the righteous. That could be true. I am having a glorious day. I'm feeling good today. No problem. I noticed that you and Tommy are having a disagreement. If you don't mind me asking, what is that about, if you're still in here? Because I thought you two were friends. Well, I'm waiting to see if he wants to talk about that. I'll go ahead and keep reading. Behold, here I am, witness against me before the Lord and before his anointed. Whose ox have I taken? Or whose donkey have I taken? Or whom have I defrauded? Whom have I oppressed? Or from whose hand have I received any bribe to blind my eyes with? Indeed, I will restore it to you. They said, you have not defrauded us or oppressed us, neither have you taken anything from any man's hand. He's all right. He's saying that there is no disagreement. Well, that's good, because I thought that was weird that there was something, it seemed like there was something that he was talking about when it came to you on his panel. But I kind of feel like Tommy is shifting a little bit, but for the better. I kind of think that he's realizing that he shouldn't, you know, contend with the hard or harsh drugs or chemicals anymore. And usually when people do figure that out, that's when they start having some issues with figuring out exactly who should be in their life and who shouldn't be. All right, let's keep going. And they say, he said, the Lord is. Okay, he said to them, the Lord is witness against you, and his anointed is witness this day, that you have not found anything in my hand. Okay. You don't believe him because he's very well, he's definitely deceiving. I'll be the first one to tell you that, scum. He's kind of selfish. He's a selfish guy. Well, I'm glad that I've been helpful to you in some way. That's good. Yeah, I'll actually tell you what I think is going on with Tommy right now. I think Tommy is starting to mature finally, but there's going to be some people around him who want him to stay on the path that he's on, which ultimately would end up killing him. If he has an issue with you, scum, I'll tell you exactly why. It's because, like, you know that accident that you had, or OD, I'm not sure what exactly happened that landed you in the hospital to where, you almost didn't make it. I think that he's afraid that what happened to you is going to happen to him. That's what I think it's about. Also, he seems to have an issue with Blackout Andy. I think that he's afraid that what happened to Blackout Andy could end up happening to him too. Because Tommy's been really lucky that he hasn't, at least as far as we know, he hasn't ended up in the hospital due to things that he does. So I think he's rethinking a lot of things. But the problem is, like I said, he's surrounded by people who want to see him fail instead of who want to see him succeed. I know. I know. And you know what's funny? He's actually really smart. His brain works really fast and he has really good memorization skills. I don't know why he doesn't have more ambition or drive. It's strange to me. It really is. But I think that there's people around him who smile to his face, but who in actuality want to see him expire. And as many, as long as I've been at odds with him, I'm at peace with him. And I told him directly yesterday, I would rather see him succeed. I don't want to see him fail. I want, even if I don't like a person, I want everyone really to succeed rather than fail. Because when people succeed, they tend not to be mean to others or feel the need to tear down other people. I'd rather see people happy than miserable. Because when they're happy, they're not going to bother me. But I'm thinking that Tommy's starting to wake up, but when people start to wake up and realize that there's certain people around them that want them to fail, they go into like a denial about it. And then they lash out at the people who really they should be friends with. So it'll be interesting to see how his story concludes. But he's going to have to, stop with the substance abuse because his body's not going to be able to take it. Yeah, yeah. He doesn't like to hear the truth. Okay? That's the thing about him. He doesn't like to hear the truth at all. So, I don't know, but what I do know is that he's got too many people in his life who are also substance abusers, and I think that's what keeps him in that cycle. Hope he gets out of it. I didn't know that. Okay, Scum is saying that's why they make you take 2 years from relationships when you're in AA. Okay, good to know. Good to know. Do I like your vegetable in the ICU avatar? I can't see it. Let me see what the avatar looks like up close. I have to go on my other device. Just give me a second. One second so I can see it. If it'll let me. Okay, here we go. Oh my God. I'm glad I took the time to look. That's a funny picture. Vegetable and oh my God. That's why you gotta just say no to drugs. You gotta just say no. He's got carrot juice. Yeah, I see that. I see that. That's cute, actually. You made that in the AI? Okay. I might have to make a song based off that using the AI. Maybe I'll do that when I'm done with this. All right, let's go back to the Bible reading. Again, we're in the first book of Samuel, chapter 12. Okay, where are we? They said, "You have not defrauded us or oppressed us, neither have you taken anything from any man's land." He said to them, "The Lord is witness against you, and his anointed is witness this day, that you have not found anything in my hand." And they answered, "He is witness." Samuel said to the people, "It is the Lord who prepared Moses and Aaron, and that brought your fathers up out of the land of Egypt. Now therefore stand still, that I may reason with you before the Lord concerning all the righteous acts of the Lord, which he did for you and your fathers. When Jacob went into Egypt, and your fathers cried out to the Lord, The Lord sent Moses and Aaron, who brought forth your fathers out of Egypt, and made them dwell in this place. When they forgot the Lord their God, he sold them into the hand of Sisera, captain of the host of Hazor, and into the hand of the Philistines, and into the hand of King Moab. And they fought against them. They cried to the Lord and said, "We have sinned because we have forsaken the Lord and have served the Baals and the Ashtoreth. But now deliver us out of the hand of our enemies, and we will serve you." The Lord sent Jerubbaal, Bedon, Jephthah, and Samuel, and he delivered you out of the hand of your enemies on every side, and you dwelt in his safety. When you saw that Nahash, king of the Ammonites, came against you, you said to me, "No, but a king will reign over us," when the Lord your God was your king. And now behold, the king whom you have chosen, and for whom you have asked. Behold, the Lord has set a king over you. If you will fear the Lord and serve him, and obey his voice, and not rebel against the commandment of the Lord, then both you and the king that reigns over you will continue following the Lord your God. But if you will not obey the voice of the Lord, but rebel against the commandment of the Lord, then will the hand of the Lord be against you as it was against your fathers. Even now take your stand and see this great thing which the Lord is doing before your eyes. Is it not the wheat harvest today? I will call to the Lord, and he will send thunder and rain, that you may know and see that your wickedness is great, which you have done in the sight of the Lord by asking for yourselves a king. Okay. So, for those of you who weren't, or who haven't listened to the earlier chapters of this book of the Bible, the people wanted a king, but God really, God's like, all right, fine, you can have a king, but that's not what I really want for you at this time. But it's like this group of people consistently lose faith and belief in the Christian God, and they keep wanting to do things that God doesn't want them to do, kind of like bratty children, not paying attention to what their parents tell them. All the people said to Samuel, "Pray for your servants. Pray for your servants to the Lord your God, that we will not die. For we have added to all of our sins to ask for ourselves a king." Yeah, so they know. They know that they shouldn't have done that. That's interesting. Samuel said to the people, "Do not fear. You have done all this wickedness. Only do not turn aside from the following. The Lord," let's start that paragraph over. "Do not fear. You have done all this wickedness, only do not turn aside from following the Lord, and serve the Lord with all your heart. But do not turn aside, for then you will be going after empty things, which cannot profit or deliver, for they are nothing. As befits his great name, the Lord will not abandon his people, for it has pleased the Lord to make you his people. Moreover, as for me, God forbid that I should sin against the Lord in ceasing to pray for you. But I will teach you the good and the right way. Fear the Lord, serve him in truth with all your heart, and consider what great things he has done for you. But if you still do wickedly, both you and your king will be swept away." It's funny. Yesterday on the Psyche Awakens panel, I was talking to a really nice woman known as Natalie, and she brought up how she felt that in the media today, they try to condition people from a very young age to follow their heart rather than to have faith in God, or rather than to allow God into their heart. And she was mentioning the second book of Samuel. So I guess we're almost there to the second book of Samuel, but already the first book of Samuel is already starting to touch on that very subject. Serve him in truth with all your heart. Yeah, yeah. So that's it for today. Tomorrow we'll go into chapter 13, which will cover Sal failing his commission and Israel being unarmed. Scum is saying we still have a lot to learn. Yeah, we do. We do. Faith in God and mother and father. Yeah, yeah. Also, it's almost like saying watch us instead. Yeah, yeah, I agree. Programming. Yeah, you got to be careful with what you put into your mind and in what quantities you put certain things into your mind. Be very conscientious of that because you become what you put into your mind and who you spend your time with. So, everyone, have a great day. Thank you for being in the chat today, Scummy. Hope you have a really good weekend. I definitely will. And I'll be around. Bye bye.